Sam Tabuteau of the London Evening Standard, expert on Brentford FC. Welcome.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm not too bad, not too bad. All the better for 3 points last weekend. And let's talk about next weekend or this coming weekend. Let's see if we can ascertain whether there's a chance of that happening yet again or once again. Um, as the Brentford expert at the Evening Standard, I thought I'd pick your brains. It's been a summer of change. I think it's fair to say, obviously, major upheaval with playing staff, with Thomas Frank's departure. How would you summarise the early weeks of Keith Andrews' tenure?
Yeah, I think it's been a mixed start. So I think obviously we had the first game away at Nottingham Forest, and that really felt like a chastening afternoon. The game was done within 45 minutes,
Yeah.
and yeah, Brentford looked sort of lost, completely lost. And so you leave that game and you start to feel, fear the worst basically for Brentford. Obviously after a massive summer of upheaval. But since then, results have picked up. They got a good win against, albeit an Aston Villa side that have endured a similarly difficult start to the
Yeah.
season. They also beat Bournemouth in the League Cup. And I think, the away form has been the problem. But at home, they remain unbeaten. Again, this is early doors in the season, but they remain unbeaten and they've performed fairly admirably. So yeah, I think it's been a mixed start, but ultimately, they're pleased to still be sort of outside of the relegation conversation for now.
Yeah, and Andrews was obviously a promotion from within. He was the set pieces coach. Given United's very public difficulties with set pieces, should we be doing everything we can on Saturday to avoid corners and throw-ins?
Yeah, if you can, certainly the throw-ins. I mean, it's notable whenever you watch Brentford, but they've just got so many options actually in terms of throw-ins. Kevin
Right.
Schade, Michael Coyote, Matthias Jensen if he plays. They're all options with this long throw. It's something that they've worked on for years. It's been embedded in the culture, and you hear from Keith Andrews. People put it to him and they go, "Where's this come from?" And he's saying, "There's no surprises here. Long throws have always been part of what we do, and it's only now that other people are sort of catching on to it. And I think it's becoming a bit of a league-wide trend. For Brentford, it's sort of business as usual in that department. They've been working on it for years.
Obviously, there's going to be a lot of talk pre-match around Bryan Mbeumo's return. He had almost 6 years at Brentford. How would you summarise his time at the club? How did he develop while he was there?
I mean, I think to put it simply, he grew from a boy to a man. He
Yeah.
arrived as a teenager. Um, he arrived as someone, full of potential. He was a club record signing at the time, but ultimately, as a 19-year-old, he's a player with a lot to sort of work on and a lot to develop. And under Frank's sort of tutelage, he really grew into that player. And we really saw that last season. I think, last season was a coming of age for him. He gets 20 Premier League goals, but more importantly than that, he's taking charge of games and he's winning games for Brentford. And he's conjuring up that little bit of magic when, Brentford look a little bit lost for ideas. And, again, early days in the season, but you could argue that that is something Brentford are missing currently.
Right. Is it kind of muscle memory? You look for him to step up and he's not there anymore.
Yeah, a little bit, a little bit. There's countless examples from last season where, he's picked up the ball and he's just put it into an area. And he knows that someone is either going to attack the ball, it's going to cause confusion, but either way, a chance is going to come from that. And more often than not, it did last season. Um, and I think, to be honest with you, having looked at United's games, watched them play, I think he started fairly well, albeit amidst a difficult start for United.
Yeah, from what you've seen of him so far, again, there's the sort of caveat that it is early days. Would you say there's a lot more to come from? Should we be excited?
Yeah, I think you definitely should be. I mean, I think one thing that you'd be looking for from Mbeumo, he has this trademark move. He picks the ball up on the right wing, he comes inside, and he, drives for the near post with a shot. That, I guess, is that's a move that we haven't quite seen in the United shirt, but it's one that's incredibly, incredibly effective. Um, and so yeah, I think there's definitely more to come from him. But looking down his stats, He's leading for touches in the penalty area. He's leading for crosses. He's leading for corners taken. So it's clear that he's taking responsibility. And I think, United perhaps lack those types of players. In a difficult moment, you want players to step up and show that they want to win games. And Mbeumo, I think, is showing that.
What's the mood or what's the view towards him at Brentford? Was there a sense of resignation that he was going to go elsewhere after, particularly after last season? And do you think he's going to be welcomed back on Saturday?
Yeah, there's a lot of goodwill for him at the club. I think, you compare this directly to, say, the departure of Johan Wissa, and the two couldn't be further apart. Um, and Mbeumo sort of left on his own terms. There was an acceptance as well that really, and Mbeumo is a player who was deserving of a move elsewhere. Um, and yeah, Brentford held out, and they held out and got a good deal. So, I don't think anyone can walk away from that feeling particularly unhappy. And so, yeah, he'll be welcomed back for sure.
And just finally then, Sam, I never like putting people on the spot, but that said is exactly what I'm going to do. As you touched upon, Brentford are still unbeaten at home this season. United are looking, despite results, are looking like something might ignite here or there. Which way do you see it going on Saturday?
I'm going to call back to last season and hope that it's a bit of a goal fest, to be honest. I'll go 3-2 Brentford. Neither team can defend.
Brilliant. Hopefully you're absolutely bang wrong. But thank you very much for your time either way. Top man.
Yeah, no problem.